of that after Stanley lose 1-0 to Chesterfield?
Yeah, well, obviously we set out to try and win the game, and against a good side, very, very good side. Passed the ball really well, so got some really good players, and they proved that over the course of the season. And it was a tough ask at the start of the game, as I said, about the knocks that we had and the changes that we had to make, the injuries, and I've been consistent with that from the start of the season in terms of anyone with any niggles or any, it wasn't worth risking. We got over the line last week, as we well know, and I think we've 8 points, I think it was. We're now away from that bottom end. So the team that went out, I couldn't ask any more, especially in the second half. We had a couple of words at half time, because I thought in the first 15 minutes, I thought they started a bit better than us, and I didn't think there was really anything in the game. We had control of the ball, and in their half, a loose pass, and then all of a sudden, there's a chance, and then Will Grigg does what he does. He's a good player. He's been scoring goals for years for different clubs, and he finds the space and puts one on the back of that. I think Michael made the save, or did it hit the post? So Michael's made the saves, hit the post, and it's ended up coming back to the one person that you don't want him to come back to, and he's done what he does, and as I said, and put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, 7 changes today. Do you think maybe that played into the uneasy start to the game? Maybe.
Yeah, I would say so. Because there's lads who've been playing bounce games, been coming back from injury and stuff, and it's difficult to go, and especially that atmosphere. I thought our fans were outstanding. Everyone coming up, turning up in reds, getting behind the team, getting behind every single one of us really, and they've come out their numbers today, haven't they, themselves, because obviously there was a lot on it for them. And the little bit of nervousness at the start, if you like, the little bit of the 7 changes you just mentioned, but second half, or half time, when we hit the chat, me and Jeb Brannan, it was just from the second half, I just thought, the questions that we were asking Chesterfield, the quality at times, it was very good, and we just needed that little bit of luck, and I think if we were playing now, it still wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah, if anyone deserved to get anything from that second half, you arguably could have won it, Dan Martin having that chance, and then the chaos at the end, and then Mooney going through one-on-one, and there's chances there for you, isn't there?
Well, it was. Devon Matthews has had 2 in the first half as well, by the way, but with from set plays, which he knows he could and should have done better from. But all the chances that you just mentioned there was just unlucky on our part. As I said, I think if we were playing now, it still wouldn't go in. I think it was blessed their goal today. It was probably meant to be for them to get over the line like they have done and get themselves in the playoffs. But I'm so proud of every single one of them, and I just said to them from the start of the season to go through what we went through in terms of bringing new people into the club, players into the club, just everything about it, the way we've conducted ourselves right the way through the situation, right the way through the season, and then to get ourselves over the line like we did, and every single person that's contributed, and that's all the players and all the staff.
Was it almost a relief going into this game at the end, not being the storyline of the day, because like you said, safety was secured, you could just go and try and finish on a strong note?
Well, you can, but you're always, as I said, with the 7 changes and for reasons like the injuries and what I touched on before, is that against a good side who are a good, they are a good team. We know that individual players who can hit you and score goals. What we spoke about is that you're thinking to yourself, you fear a little bit, especially the way they start, and you think that, it could be a few goals, and no one wants to come. Everyone's in party mood, and we didn't want to make sure that we didn't spoil our fans' party.
Yeah. What now? Following the end of the season, is it time to have a break and have a catch a breath, maybe?
Oh, it's definitely catch a breath, because it's just been non-stop, constant. But that's the job. It's the pressures of the job. It's dealing with everything that you have to deal with within the job. And one that I've learned massively on the job, and I think I've got better at every situation that's been thrown at me. Every good comment, bad comment, everything, and I just try to stay nice and level, nice, consistent with everything. I think the Carlisle game is probably one of the club's biggest games for me. Personally, I can say it all now because obviously we're done. We should have seen that out. We didn't, but we got the points because that could have put us in a different situation going into the rest of the games. But to turn up like we did at Walsall and do what we done in the manner which we done it, and a fully deserved victory.
Of course, a lot of the season has not necessarily gone to plan, but as you mentioned there's a lot that can be learned and to be taken into next season to make sure that you're not even close next year.
Well, it is. Everyone goes on about the stats, which is stats are stats, and they don't disappear. If the game would have been only 80 minutes and that, you'd have been sitting in 8 and you'd have been in the playoffs and this, that. But we weren't, so it's reality. It wasn't. It's not 80 minutes, it's 90 odd minutes. We'll learn from every situation that we've been in as a team collectively. We'll learn from every situation an individual has been in. and mistakes that we've learned, because there's lads that have learned on the job, and lads have learned, and you've seen Sonny Al-Joffrey there, you've seen Ben Ward, you know, when he's played, he didn't play today. You've seen Devon Matthews come from, I could go right through the old team. You know, Ben Woods, you know, he's had an unbelievable season. You know, he scored some spectacular goals in the previous game. So I can go through everyone. Sean Morley contributed early on the season, you know, with his, what he does, and you know, I can't speak highly enough for Sean. There's everyone. I could go right through the team. So there's a lot of learning that got done this season, and a lot that to look forward to for next season. Yeah,
is there a good platform you think in place now to push on for next season?
Yeah, there definitely is. I think we've got about 15 signed players still. You know, we'll look at the loan situation again. I think the loans and our recruitment has been very good this season, so we have to look into that. And you know, there's the ones that we did bring in January, they're our players, which is good as well. So you know, it puts us in good stead.
When does that sort of building for next season start? Have you had any conversations yet going into it, or is it time to have a minute and then look at it?
Well, it started, to be honest. You know, when the January window finishes, because you've got targets, but your main target is you've got to secure yourself safety. So once that's done, you know, you can start having conversation with people and what have you, and putting, you know, things in place. So they're ongoing. They've been ongoing since last week. So, you know, and as I said, it's just sort of watch the space now.
Yeah, I suppose, of course, staying in the division is the priority, and that's a huge relief in itself. But like you say, those irons you've got in the fire that now can fall into place because you know you're going to be here, it must be really satisfying to build on.
Well, it is, especially because they've been waiting, you see, some people, some agents and some players, and now they're phoning, you know, saying, so they're phoning us, which is great. So, you know, we know they're still there, we know we can get them done, so now it's, you know, as I said, we can take a breath first and then deal what we've got to deal with in-house, and then look forward to the summer break.